So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our series where we are spotlighting Canadian efforts against NTDs. I'm really excited about this conversation, and we have a truly wonderful guest with us, Dr. Melisa Gualdron Lopez, who is a parasitologist and an assistant professor at McGill University. And her research explores host-parasite interactions in malaria and Chagas disease. And what's especially important about her work is its focus on pregnancy-related infections, which is critical and often underaddressed in the area of global health. And so we're going to hear more about her research on placental malaria and her contributions to understanding Chagas disease. And this is a perfect time for this conversation because we're filming this video on World Chagas Day, and we're also hoping to release this in the lead up to World Malaria Day to help raise awareness around these important diseases. And so, Dr. Gualdron Lopez, thank you for joining us today. It's a real pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. This is so good to be among you and to bring to the floor this important conversation, as you mentioned, to
Yeah.
raise awareness about this disease and the impact in maternal health.
hmm And so, to kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey into this research?
Sure. So I am originally from Venezuela, so it's a country where many of neglected tropical diseases are endemic, and particularly malaria and Chagas disease are a big problem over there. So I've been raised with a lot of awareness about this disease. But I
Mhm.
should say that I fall in love with parasites in a literal way
Mhm.
because they are really fascinating organisms in the sense that they have evolved these very clever strategies to manipulate the host and establish long-lasting infections, and sometimes really evading the most complex aspect of the immune system. So this has always been a really aspect of fascination for me. So I start my studies
Mhm.
looking to the metabolism of trypanosomes. Later, I moved to cell biology,
Okay.
and then I got interested in host immune response in the context of trypanosoma cruzi infection, so Chagas disease.
Mhm.
But later, I became really drawn to extracellular vesicles,
Mhm.
which are a hot topic in biomedical research. And I spent a few years studying Plasmodium vivax malaria and extracellular vesicles.
Mhm.
And later, I really became interested in maternal health, I
Yeah.
guess because I became a mom. And,
Mm.
and so that was something like came to my awareness as to
Mhm.
how vulnerable my mothers are in the period of pregnancy, and how these infections can be really detrimental for their health and their newborns.
Mhm.
And this is when I encountered the placentas.
Mhm.
Placenta is an amazing organ, which is often not very well studied,
Yes.
and it's the first organ that everybody has,
Mhm.
and where a particular environment is holding maternal and fetal cells. So
Mhm.
that is very, very unique.
Mhm.
So this is where all tied together. And nowadays in my own lab, I am exploring how Plasmodium falciparum and Trypanosoma cruzi interact with placental cells.
This research can also be challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. And so, what do you find the most exciting about your work? What keeps you motivated to do this type of research?
So I think that I consider myself a very lucky person because I happen to do what I love the most,
Mhm.
which is asking questions, coming up with hypotheses, and designing experiments to prove them, and hopefully finding some answers to the questions, which often come up. These answers bring you to new questions. Is this a never-ending cycle that is very motivating? So I feel very, very driven by this cycle of research itself. But what at the same time keep me going is the fact that one day I hope that what we are researching here is going to be translated to tools that can be implemented to help these very vulnerable populations as our mothers and their babies
Yeah.
in this period of time is very critical. But at the same time, I think that interacting with my students
Mhm.
are also a very rewarding aspect of my work. So seeing them growing and becoming really researchers and bringing a continuity to the work that we are doing here.
Mhm.
So this is is what keep me really motivated.
It's amazing. And do you have any challenges that you face in your research?
We do a few we do face some challenges. So I am a new professor and I am
Mhm.
starting a lab. So starting from scratch it comes with its
What?
challenges.
Yeah.
And one of the main challenges that we currently have is the fact that we have limited access to placentas from women's in endemic settings.
Hmm.
So that, of course, this is very critical to validate our results
Hmm.
in the models that we use to validate the results using actual placentas.
Hmm.
And doing extracellular vesicles research comes with its own challenges. Extracellular vesicles are very heterogeneous
Hmm.
and difficult to purify
Hmm.
and to produce in a high amount in our current models. So
Hmm.
these are like a technical challenges that are coming with the work. And I think that in a broader aspect, one of the challenges that we face and we will face is that establishing technicalities regarding how extracellular vesicles can be purified and profiled in the low resource setting where
Okay.
sometimes many of these diseases has in endemic areas are affecting people. So that translational is very complex and but it's necessary if we want to come with tools that are basing in extracellular vesicles
Hmm.
to the endemic areas.
Hmm. And it's nice that you have such a focus on also translating your research into um, practical interventions. And so, how do you envision this knowledge that you're developing to translate into tools that can be used to address maternal health?
Cellular vesicles are hold a great promise to
Hmm.
be used as therapeutics and as biomarkers of infectious diseases. And they are really stable in circulation and very abundant in biofluids. And because they are secreted from cells and the content of these vesicles, the molecular content can reflect the physiological state of the cell of origin, they can carry signatures of a fingerprint of what was happening originally in the cells that produce them.
Hmm.
And if you think about placental malaria of congenital Chagas disease and these infections in the placenta, where the parasites and the host and the fetal cells are secreting EVs with this distinct molecular cargo,
Hmm.
these they can be detected in the blood, in the maternal blood, using different type of techniques and approach, and really be precise in diagnosing early stage of placenta malaria or early congenital risk of infection in the context of Chagas disease.
Hmm.
So I hope that one day we're gonna come with our findings to translate into tools that can be used in the context of endemic areas for the diagnostic of these two diseases.
Wonderful. And on a fun note, if you could collaborate with any scientist, past or present, who would it be and why?
All right, so if it's only one, I would say I would love to have collaborated with Carlos Chagas,
Mm.
which is the discoverer of Chagas disease. So he was really an amazing contributor, which on his own and like a very primitive conditions, he was able to dissect the whole life cycle of the parasite to
Mhm.
characterize the epidemiology
Mhm.
and describe the symptoms, so the pathology of the disease. So I think his contribution to medicine is really amazing. I would have loved to collaborate with him.
Also, this video will probably be shared amongst the Canadian audience. And so, just to take a step back, parasitic diseases like Chagas disease and malaria, they're often seen as a distant concern and as something that only affects people in other parts of the world. And so, I was wondering if you could explain to us, for a Canadian audience, why should Canadians care about these diseases?
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it can feel distant, but global health is local health,
Hmm.
and we are all interconnected.
Hmm.
And with all the concerns regarding climate change, the distribution and dynamics of these diseases are no longer constrained to the endemic areas where they originally are. They are moving up north. And so that is concerning, of course. And for example, there is increasing diagnosis of Chagas disease in Canada because of migration. And although there is not enough awareness and not enough screening. So I think that Canada is in a very privileged position because the strong research capacity to really contribute to develop new strategies and technologies that can really impact maternal health in a global scale. And it's not only an opportunity to contribute, but it's a moral responsibility.
Yes,
I think that everybody should be concerned about the global health and maternal health.
definitely. And I'm sure as a professor, you mentioned it before, you value mentoring and supporting the next generation of scientists. And so, what advice would you give to students or early career researchers interested in studying NTDs or host parasite interaction specifically?
First of all, I would say we need you.
Mhm.
We need more people driven to study NTDs and host parasite interactions. If you have this curiosity, I think that we should, first of all, be bold and be creative and ask difficult questions and be willing to collaborate interdisciplinary. And I would suggest find a good mentor that will believe in you and will support your growth, but also be grounded in the human aspect of this research and how it can be really a game changer for the future control and management of this disease. And I'll also say science is a lot about fun, and science is about keeping curiosity part of your life and your daily work, but is also about making a change.
And finally, to wrap up, what excites you most about the future of your research?
First of all, I think that I am very excited about what is happening right now, like growing a lab from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So the first students, and I'm excited about what their journey is going to be and how we are going to lay the foundational aspects of our research and how these extracellular vesicles are really interacting with the placenta, what are their roles. So establishing this foundational layer in our work. But I'm also very excited about what is coming up in terms of international collaboration with researchers in endemic areas. So there are some new interactions that are taking shape now right now in Latin America and in Africa. So I am really, really excited about that.
Sounds so exciting. And so, thank you so much, Dr. Gualdron Lopez, for sharing your time and your research and your insights with us today. This has been such a good conversation. And I wish you all the best in
Thank you
your
so
future
much for
research.
this
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. And thank you again.